Hey everyone, Pete Calandra here. On today's video, we're going to take a look at some basic programming techniques for two new VIs from Arturia titled Augmented Strings and Augmented Voices. This is the end of May 2022, and these instruments were released within the past week or two. If you'd like to navigate through this video at your own pace, there'll be timestamps for different chapters in the description box below. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. Also, if you'd like to further support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. There's a link for that down below as well. Let's get right into it. This is the GUI of Augmented Strings, and this is a patch that I've programmed called Sustained Strings 1. So let's take a listen to that, and then we'll break it down. This is the GUI for Augmented Strings, and Augmented Voices looks very similar to this. And this is the first page that opens up, and this is the easy edit. Basically, you've got a bunch of macros and a morph, which goes between the different sound sources, A and B. And every one of these macros is assignable to a different type of parameter. Over here, you can call up a new preset, you can save preset, you can import presets, you can resize the window. It's got tutorials, help, user manual, and about, which probably gives you the version of the software. You click on this, you can have all presets, submenus, or if you click here, you can go to factory sound banks or PC presets. And we've got Sustained Strings 1. Now, the other thing that's cool about this is if you click on this gear, it opens up these settings. So you've got global settings, which lets you know how many notes you can play at a time, how you can work your voice steel if you play, let's say, more than you've assigned, pitch bend range, glide time, portamento, all this stuff. And if you have some sort of MPE instrument, you can turn that on and program that. Here you have MIDI settings, and these are the kinds of things that come with this that you can change these parameters using MIDI CCs. I've got this set up here so that MIDI C7 is controlling the master volume, so that if I play this note, I have MIDI CC off on my controller, and I'm turning up CC7 on a slider I've got programmed for that. So that'll give you some real-time control over the volume. So let me play a little bit and show you that. So I'll do some one-handed playing and control the volume with my left hand. And that works out really well. Now, these are easily changeable. You can just click on these or double click and see how it becomes illuminated. If I zoom in on that, you can see that that's illuminated, and then you can just dial in a number. So let's say I put in 17. Then I've got on my slider 17. Let's see right here. Yeah, you can see my reverb knobs moving using my slider on my Korg Nano control. You can add controls here. There's, look at how many there are, right? It's insane. Very thorough. So you could tell that Arturia has been making soft synths for a while. Now, what's nice about this is it has tutorials right here. So you can click on this, and then it'll overwrite your current preset. I've got this saved, so let's just take a quick look. And then it shows you how many pages are. You can close this and go to the play page. It's got 4 pages, and see how it illuminates what they're talking about. So this is a good way to quickly go through this. If you spend 15 minutes on each page and then play around with this instrument with those parameters and then, work on the next page, you can really learn it pretty quickly. There's not really a lot to that. Okay, so to do some really good programming, what you'll do is you'll click on Advanced and it will open up, and typically open up to this page. There are 2 layers and each layer has 2 sub-layers. And what you get is a sampler sub-layer and a synth sub-layer. So you can have a sampler and a synth on one layer, or you can have 2 samplers on one layer. One way that they've got this program, though, is that you can only have 2 samplers and 2 synth layers total. So in other words, you can't have 3 sample layers and 3 synth layers. So let's say that I wanted to exchange this with this here. You just grab that and drag it over, and then you can bring it back. And the same thing with these samplers. If I wanted to have a sample layer over here, I would click on this, drag it over here, and then it would get put onto this layer, and this layer would get put on over here. So that's pretty easy to use. Let me turn these off by clicking and see how they become uncolored. And this is our first layer, which is a random ricochet. And also let's go here to the effects, and let's turn all the effects off so that we can hear our main, just our sound. Great. So this is our random ricochet. And you can see that it follows my envelope, which you can change here, or you can click and drag. You've got close miking and far miking, and then you can change the width of each mic and you can call in the mix. So if I were going to just have close mics and I wanted to have it wide, or not very wide, but for this one I wanted far and very stereo. You can hear how that changes. This is the overall volume of this layer. Well, this particular part of the layer. Our envelope, one thing that's kind of cool right here, you've got this attack curve and decay curve. And if I click and drag up, you can see how the curve changes. And those all have different effects, and the same with the decay curve. Now over here, you've got your filter and a global envelope for the layer. It affects both, and the envelope also affects both. So I've got this set off with the cutoff filter. And this is an SEM style that they've taken, obviously, from some of their Oberheim synths. And this is multi-mode. I've got resonance. If I crank up that resonance, it is not self-oscillating, at least on the samplers. And then you've got different kinds of formant. This is helpful on the choir sounds. Phaser. Which is kind of cool. And then surgeon. I'm not quite sure what that does. I'd have to look that up and read about that. Comb filter. Right, that's kind of cool. It gives you all sorts of crazy effects. So you can see that sound programming possibilities are really amazing. So let's load our original sound back in. Go back to our edit page. Let's turn this off, and let's go to our effects and turn them all off. And these are our random attacks, reattacks. Now, to get other sounds, you just click here and it brings up another submenu. And you have additional samples here that you can choose from: bass, cello, ensemble strings, processed ensemble, processed solo strings, viola, and violin. I've got this random reattacks right here. Let's turn the cutoff all the way up. right? So you can hear that. It got Coleño. Let's play through some of these through the different octaves so you can hear the quality of the samples. Yeah, that one there's a little out of tune. So you can, these are the far distant mics. So you can just see that they're good sounding samples. Would I consider them to be samples that are on the level of Spitfire or orchestral tools or Cinesamples or any of the top orchestral sample libraries? No. Would it be nice? Yes. But the bottom line is that you're going to do so much processing to these sounds and layering them with other sounds that the aggregate sound that you come up with, that's really important. And I think that this really is a very useful piece of software for that. Now, if we go over to layer B, let's turn this off and synth Bow Traveler. So again, with the synths, if you click here, you get all your different categories of synths, and they've got, you know, quite a few. And again, do these sound as great as some other soft synths like Omnisphere? No, I wouldn't say they do, but they do sound really good and they're very useful. So let's close this. And you can play around. This is where the start is. Let me zoom in so you can see that a little easier. Start, and if I move this knob here, you see how the start time changes. And then if I play this note, you see how wide the loop is, right? That, and you see those lines, that's how dense. You can change that like this. And then the size is the width. Okay, great. And then same type deal, envelope. This has the volume here, and then cut off and additional envelope here. I don't have a fourth part in here because I thought with 3 parts, it would be really sufficient. So let's just load that back in. And let's take a look at the effects next. So I've got, let's see. These effects here, the FX, these effects here, layer A and layer B, these are changeable here with these macros. And let's go back here. So I've got stereo pan, I've got it set here, and then I've got chorus. So June 6th chorus. You can hear how that changes. And then here I've got a chorus and a flanger. And again, both of these, A and B, are accessible here. And here. Right, and then that's the A, and that's B. And then you can add more of the delay, which I didn't get to yet. Then you've got this page here, and this is where you've got your delay. I've got a tape delay, and this is what it looks like. I've got the time division set to quarter notes. You can make it time and sync binary, which is quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, which are obvious triplets, and dotted notes like dotted eighth, dotted quarter, etc. And how wide you want it to be, stereo. And you can ping pong it so it goes back and forth in your left to right ears. I'll show you that in the next example. I'd like to add something to one of the macros. I'd like to add tremolo and be able to affect it from this knob on the front that says motion. So what we'll do is go here, and we will click on motion down here. It gives you a little prompt which tells you what to do. And it kind of took me a minute to figure this out. So I want to assign it to both A and B, and I want to have a fade in a little bit. And if this is where the rate is, so if I click like this, and I bring the depth up a little bit and click and draw, then let's see what we got here. Now we can change that around. Let's say we do this and we do this, right? Nothing. So we would have to maybe make the rate go faster and the depth go faster. Now, if we go to MIDI, motion is 77. So if I wanted to, my slider has an empty one on 21. So if I do 21 right here, and then there we go, I can do my. So that's cool. And then I can also save that as part of my, I could call this maybe PC2 motion. Boom. And it's right in my file here. Okay, so that's this one here. Let's take a listen to how the delay sounds. I'll just play some short notes and you can hear how it feeds back. Okay, let's put that one away and let's take a look at this other one that I've programmed. And this one is minor 11th arpeggiated strings PC. So I'm just going to play single notes. You can see them down here on the keyboard and you'll hear how this unfolds. Here we go. Okay, so this one features, if we go to our layers, staccato strings, synth, cassette strings, pizzicato strings, and then cross mod. So it's basically staccato and pizzicato playing together. And then the cassette strings and the cross mod, they're just really just sharp little attacks. Let me just solo those out. You'll hear some delay. Just to give a little bite to the attack. Now, what this one features is the Arpeggiator, and I'll talk about this. This is cool. So, oh, this is incorrect here. All right, let's go right here. We've got our step, row. We've got chord, whether the chord is on or not. So purple is on and white is off. We've got our velocity, which everybody should be aware of, and our gate. Now, I played around with the gate with this one, but because this particular patch is very short, each note is very short, there's no sustained notes, we don't really get much of a difference in the gate from note to note. Right here, we've got the arpeggiator modes, and I've got this selected as random. We're synced right here, BPM, sync binary, sync triplets, sync dotted, right? So I've got this binary and at 16ths. So it could be 16th note triplets, 16th note dotted notes, a little bit of swing. And I've got this all happening in one octave, and I've got a chord turned on. So let's take a look at this. If I click on chord select, it gives us these kinds of simultaneities: an octave, a fifth, a suspended triad, minor 7th, minor 9th, minor 11th, major, major 7th, major 9th, major 11th, and then you can make your own by clicking on this, and that's kind of cool. Now, as you can see, it's 16 notes long, or 16 steps long. You can click and drag back to make it any number up to 16. So this is that pattern with 13 steps. What you can do is simply play a chord, hit the hold button here, and let it rock. Let's take a listen. All right, so that's some stuff with the strings. Let's move on to the voices. All right, let's take a look at my Cathedral choir programming here in the Augmented Voices. Again, very similar to the previous string library. But this time we've got, voices and synth. So let's turn off all the effects and we'll listen to the voice processor. Now we've got that layered with dark gaggle, which is a synth waveform. Okay, on the other side, we've got female ah2. And then harmonic choir. And then all of those four sounds together. Now, obviously, there's more stuff going on. So we've got our tremolo effect. So let's see. Right, kind of cool. Our effects, we've got digital delay, convolution reverb, but on the effects layer, we've got, again, chorus, the Juno 6 chorus on both of these. It adds so much. Let's turn off all the effects. And then we'll go back here and, right, when you add the Juno 6 chorus, adds a nice stereo width to it, and then bringing in our convolution reverb, which is Cathedral Ghost. Right, really nice. And add some delay on top of that. And I'm going to play around with some of these controls while I'm playing with one hand, and you can hear what they do. So let's go there. That's the Cathedral Choir, and let's look at another one that I programmed here, Rich Pad. Let's take a listen. Okay, with this one, I don't think that there's a lot going on here, but let's take a look. So I've got female ooh, let's turn these off. And let's also go to our effects and turn them off. Right, so 2 effects per layer and then a main effect. So let's turn off our delay and our reverb. Female ooh. Again, using our SEM filter. Broken tube desk. Digi Night lights over here. Now this is cool because they've got oscillators, right? So I've got this set up as 3 sine waves. You can click and drag and change these to whatever you want. And here are your levels for oscillator 2 and oscillator 3. What would be nice is if you could pan oscillator 2 and pan oscillator 3. You can detune each one a little bit, right, with this knob here. So if I bring this way up. I do have this whole side panned a little to the right and this one panned a little to the left. Now, let's go back to our original sound. And I don't think that the color is... So let's do this. And now let's go back here. See how it's reversed, so you have to just do that procedure we did on the earlier one. That's really a beautifully haunting sound. right, so that's a basic look at doing some programming with these two new VIs. My final thoughts are these are very good. I don't think that this is as mature as Omnisphere. Omnisphere, you can do very many of the same kinds of functions. Omnisphere has been around for over 20 years, right? So they've had a long time to develop this. One nice thing about this is that Arturia has taken all of the techniques they've learned about creating software instruments and then applied it so that you can process these sounds in an interesting way. You can create really nice textures. If you go through the presets, they've got some wild programming going on in there. But I wanted to show today about programming your own sounds and how you could do that. And it's not that difficult. It's very easy. So again, I've been Pete Calandra. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, give a thumbs up. Please subscribe and ring that notification bell. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.